Hi, welcome to my brand new channel. I'm at the very start of this crazy quest of mine to play better golf at the ripe old age of 60 than I did as a teenager when I had a handicap of 2 at the age of 16. I've been working hard on my game, and do you know, I think I've got something good going on the practice range, and when I hit the ball properly, my goodness me, I'm a happy camper. But when I walk onto the golf course, I don't know, I seem to turn into another player. It's like my arms aren't connected to my body and I have no idea why. So my first challenge in this quest is to tackle my local golf course, which is Macclesfield. It's a really lovely golf course. It's right on the edge of the Peak District in Cheshire. It's quite short, but it's hilly, quite challenging and exposed to the elements. Although on the day I played it was lovely and sunny and warm. I videoed the round and ended up playing just 9 holes, so let's go to the first tee and see how I got on. So this first hole, a short par 4, is actually quite tricky because it's a semi-blind tee shot. You go uphill, it turns sharp left, goes up even more to an elevated green, but the fairway slopes left to right, so you're really looking to play a draw for a right-handed player round the corner to keep it up to the left, but then all the slope takes it down to the right. It's a nightmare of a shape of a hole for me, because I really need to try and shape my swing more out to in to feel I'm hitting a fade or a slice. But on this occasion, I managed to hit a decent shot in the right-hand semi, and we're off. So for this second shot, I've got maybe 85, 90 yards, but up a steep hill. So I think I used a 52 degree. The important thing is not to be short because it will roll back down. It's a nightmare if you're short. So on this occasion, I judged it well, 25 feet short of the hole. I'm on the dance floor. Okay, so 25 feet for birdie, but take a moment. If you ever play Macclesfield, you're on the first green. Turn around and look at that view. You are blessed with a panoramic view over the town. It's beautiful. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. I putted bang on line, left it 3 or 4 inches short, right in front of the cup. It's so annoying when you do that, but never mind. It's a par. On to the second. So hole 2, shortish par 4. Not that easy because it's often into the wind. You don't want to go right too far because the fairway slopes left to right, so you tend to hug the left-hand side, but don't overdo it because there's gorse and trees there. Thankfully on this occasion, got the line off the tee, rolled down into the right side of the fairway in really good shape for the approach shot. I'm in good shape here, probably 115, 120 yards to the pin, but it's steeply uphill. A little bit of breeze against, and the ball's below your feet. So if you're a right-handed player, that's going to tend to leak off to the right, so you have to aim a little bit to the left. So often I'll go short here because I get the ball flying too high, so I hit a little tiny 8 just to keep it under the wind. I just pulled it a little bit of right hand at the last minute, but ended up on the left-hand fringe, maybe 35, 40 feet from the pin. So longish putt for birdie. It's a little bit left to right, I know that, and it's more about pace, to be honest. And on this occasion, I left it maybe 5 feet short, a sort of a knee knocker of a distance short of the hole. And I've got left to right on this putt, not my favourite line. I often leak those off to the right because I tend to slice my putts when I'm putting badly. But somehow managed to find the middle of the cup. So level par after 2, on to the third. So the third's probably my favourite hole on the golf course, a tough par 4. Visually it's quite unusual because the fairway slopes right to left. You've got this blind tee shot with a marker post, but when you get over the ridge and you see this wonderful view as you walk over the top of the ridge, you then realise that the fairway then slopes left to right. So you've actually got to make sure you don't leak it off to the right with your drive. You can also go too far if you hit driver and it's running hard as it was today. So I actually hit a 3-iron to make sure I'm short of the ditch that runs short of the green. And I struck this 3-iron really nicely, very pure, straight down over the marker post. So when you get over that hill, you see where the balls ended up. And that 3-iron ran miles down the slope. I've only got about 120 yards to the pin, And it's a beautiful view down to the green. You see the ball descending to the green if you hit a nice approach shot. And I chose a little 9-iron. You don't want to be short here. Even though the pin's at the front, it will roll down the slope if you're short. So this was probably the best shot I hit today. Hit it to about 3.5 feet just left of the hole. Very, very pleased with that. So a mere 3.5 feet for birdie. Surely it's going to be 1 under par. But it's left to right. We don't like those left to right putts with that slightly spinny putting action. And sure enough, it leaks off to the right. Never mind, it's not a bogey, it's a par. Let's move on to the 4th. 4th hole, short par 4, but again a tricky tee shot. Because it's to a sloping fairway, it slopes left to right, lots of trouble up the left, trees on the right, and then a very steep upslope into the green, and a difficult to judge approach shot, but a good drive. Now, I'll be honest with you, this second shot does my head in. Every time I play Macclesfield, I seem to mess this approach shot up. It's probably only 80 yards to the pin from here, but it's very steeply uphill, so when you think you've got, a particular loft of club in your hand, it actually increases the loft, and invariably I will hit it too high and it will end up short. It's often into the wind this hole as well. So what did I do here? Did I take a less lofty club and keep it low? No. I hit a 52 degree, and what happened? It went too high, it went short, and not just short, left, blindsided myself, not a happy camper. Now I'm lucky in one respect because I don't have to go directly over the bunker, and I see a little route around the bunker. I'm not overly confident with my chipping at the moment, so I get the putter out. It's very, very short grass between the ball and the hole. But I've got to get it up a steep slope. It'll bend round to the right with the curve of the bunker surround. And then it's all about getting the pace right. Now, I knew as soon as I hit this that it was short. It did actually get to the top of the slope, so it was just on the fringe of the green, but it's about, maybe 12, 13 feet short of the hole. And I didn't make par. Tap in for a bogey. On to the 5th, 1 over par. 5th hole, very nice par 3, slightly elevated tee. You see down into the green. I actually played from a slightly more forward tee on this occasion, so I only needed, I think I hit an easy 8-iron here. Decent swing on the ball, went slightly left and a little bit big, but at least I'm putting for birdie. So I must have a good 45 feet here for birdie, so it's hardly a birdie opportunity. I'd be happy with a 2-putt. I'm reading it a little bit left to right, but to be honest, it's more about getting the pace right. So in the end, it actually went a little bit left, so I misread the putt. And I guess it underlines the fact that I'm having difficulty at the moment reading putts. I don't know whether it's my eyes, whether I'm just too lazy to line it up properly. Maybe I need a caddy. So in the end, I actually got the pace reasonably right, but misjudged the line slightly, ended up probably 4 feet left of the hole. Managed to knock that one in, so I'm pleased with the 2-putt. On to the next hole, 1 over par. So at this point in the round, there was actually a bit of a hold-up on the next hole, so I managed to find a gap by missing a couple of holes out, so I'm actually playing the 8th hole here. I didn't video my drive, but the drive ended up in the fairway in good shape. This is the second shot. You're going downhill into the green. I chose an 8-iron, a tricky green, slightly elevated green, but we'll see where it goes. And I hit a really nice shot that probably had a little bit too much club. It went over the pin, probably maybe 40, 45 feet past the hole. When the pin's at the front, as it is here, and when the greens are quick, it's very, very easy when you're putting from the back to the front to put it too hard and come off the green entirely, and you look very, very silly. So I suppose I was worried about overhitting it and ended up leaving it probably a good 5 or 6 feet short. But very, very pleased with that putt. It's a left to righter, not my favourite line, but in it went. So we're on to the 7th hole now, staying at 1 over par. So 9th hole, my 7th hole. It's a short par 5. It's actually well under 500 yards, but it plays uphill, very steeply uphill to begin with, over a ridge and then down to a green. But a nice drive here, really, really solid strike in the fairway, in good shape to reach into. Totally blind second shot here. I've got 3-iron in hand. Once you get it over the ridge, it will run down to the green, but I've always found it really difficult to find the line for the second shot. But you've always got that sense of anticipation of where the ball is when you reach the crest and then look down to the green. I didn't strike this too well, but it went straight. It went on the line I intended. So then we climb up the hill and see where it went. It's always a bit disappointing when you reach the crest of a blind second shot, and then you look down and hopefully find the ball on the green and it's not there. So in this case it finished over the green, fortunately short of the long grass, but I've got a pitch over a mound from behind the green. Plenty of green to work with, so I should get somewhere near the hole. But it's not really a strength of my game, it's something I'm working on at the moment. And although I struck the pitch okay, it was a little bit weak and I left it at least 20 feet short of the hole. Now this putt's going up the hill, and it looks fairly straight, but again, reading greens is not a strength of mine at the moment. I probably thought there might be a little bit of right to left movement, and in the end, I played what can only be described as a cricket shot. It was like an off drive. So very disappointed not to make birdie. Still no birdie on the scorecard. Off to the 8th. On to hole 10, my 8th. I've always liked this tee shot. You feel you can really open your shoulders here, and it's quite a wide fairway, but you must hit it down the right-hand side when the weather is warm and the ground is hard, because it's a very severely sloping fairway right to left, and you'll end up in the left rough 9 times out of 10. And this drive was, well, it was probably the best one I hit all day. That was solid. I have, I think, a 5-iron in hand, so you can tell how far the drive went, that I've only got 5-iron into the green on a hole that's nearly 540 yards. So I tried to compensate for the slope, but got the ball a little bit off the toe of the club. It curved a bit left and ended up, as always, down the left-hand side in the semi-rough. Pitching's not really my strength, so I've probably got about 25 yards to the hole here. It's an elevated position, I'm well down below the green, so I have to hit a 60 degree to get the ball lofted over that slope. Just keep the swing nice and long and smooth, and then you'll be okay. This is what I'm telling myself. Well, we'll see what happens. So it was okay, a little bit scoopy, because again, I get a little bit anxious with these shots. They're getting better, but it's still a weakness in my game. And I've got maybe 20 feet still to go, so a bit disappointed not to get nearer than that. 20 feet for birdie. It looks fairly straight, but to be honest, I just pulled the putt. But I got a nice distance on it, good speed control, so a tap in for a par. So I'm 1 over par after 8 holes, 1 to go. So hole 11, my 9th hole, short par 4, tricky tee shot, because it's really an iron shot off this tee, because the fairway, as many of them do, slopes quite severely left to right, so everything will leak away that side if you're not careful, so you have to hug the left-hand side, and there's a couple of bunkers on the right that you need to avoid, so I went with a 3-iron. Maybe I drew some confidence from the one I hit on the 3rd tee, so I hit this really nicely, perfect line, and actually the ball ran all the way down into the right rough, and I'm not happy. Now I'm not trying to make any excuses, but this is a really bad lie. Sat right down in very, very light rough, but we'll see. So I've probably only got about 85 yards to the hole from here, but in a bad lie I'm going to have to dig this one out a little bit, so I went with the 56, kept the hands ahead, tried to sort of make sure I took a divot, actually hit it really nicely, and it came out just right on the right line, a little bit left of the hole. Could this be my final shot of the day? Could this be the first birdie of the round? I've got about 18 feet for a birdie 3, but it's quick. This is a fast putt down the hill, and it's one of the curiosities of golf that when you say that you have a fast putt, the ball actually travels slow. So go figure that one. So a decent putt, but it was never really on line. So I ended up with another par. No birdies in the round, but 1 over par for 9 holes. Nothing to be ashamed of. So if you've enjoyed this first video, then please subscribe to the channel and continue to follow me on my quest to get down to a handicap of 2 or better.